We live? Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Hope you all are doing well. We are on the downside of the week now, and if you're in Atlanta, that means that you're preparing for snowpocalypse. So we hope that you'll take a little bit of time out of your prep buying bread and milk. If you live in the South, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I hope that you will take a few moments to share this stream with your family and friends and folks that you love. And we're going to be talking about something very important today. I'm going to take just a quick second here to share this stream on my personal Facebook page, and I hope that you'll do that as well. Let's see. All right. Okay, there we go. So we've got it shared on our page, and I wanted to introduce myself to you, of course, for those who may be watching this later, not familiar with who we are. My name is Juan. I am Juan Alviar. We are with Rockdale Life Agency based out of Snellville, Georgia. We also service the state of Arizona, and we are a full-service insurance agency protecting auto, home, life, commercial, and a lot of other boutique-style coverages that you won't find in normal carriers. So we are very happy that you've joined us today. We do have Angelo here who's going to walk across screen there. This is Angelo Alviar. He is my brother and associate insurance agent.
Hi, everybody.
So we're going to talk about something very important today. So if you are watching this and you know somebody who is a young person who's just getting auto insurance coverage, somebody who is out there thinking about the potential of buying a home at some point, if you know some millennials, somebody who qualifies to be a millennial, we want you to share this stream with them, and we're going to ask our millennial insurance agent here some questions about something that will help them on Tips and Tricks Thursday. And so on Thursdays, we're going to bring you this segment called Tips and Tricks Thursday. We're going to be discussing insurance hacks that you can use to save money, get better coverages, and be better protected. Amen. So now, if you're watching this again, go ahead and take a few seconds to like, share, subscribe, whatever social media platform you may be on. And if you would do so, we would appreciate it.
We'll be passing the offering plate shortly.
The preacher came out of me a little bit. That's my other job. All right, so you want to go ahead and let's get started?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's start talking about it. We are going to be discussing again tips and tricks, and we're going to focus today's segment on renter's insurance. And again, that's why we say if you know somebody who is a millennial, somebody who is looking down the road at the eventuality of purchasing a home, somebody who is just starting out in life, getting their first auto insurance policy, starting to venture out on their own, share this with them. We're going to save them some big time money over the lifespan of how long they're buying insurance and what kind of insurances they're going to be buying. So Angelo is our resident expert on renter's insurance, and I'm going to give him your top questions as posed by several of our customers, and hopefully this will have an impact on your bottom line.
All right, let's go.
All right, number one, what is renter's insurance?
Well,
big question.
Renter's insurance is a policy that you get whenever you are living somewhere and you aren't the owner of that building. So whether it's an actual house, an apartment, a condo, a duplex, triplex, whatever building that you're living in that you don't own, you need to get a renter's insurance policy, and it covers your belongings that are inside of that dwelling that you're living in.
So when you've left Mom and M's, it's time to start looking at renter's insurance.
Whenever you've moved out or are about to move out, you need to be planning on where you live and making sure it's in your budget to get some renter's insurance.
Okay. Now, when you say it protects you, what exactly are you talking about? What does renter's insurance protect?
Well, renter's insurance, first and foremost, protects your actual belongings. So all of your furniture that you get, all of your food, your clothes, anything of your own personal belongings. If you've got any guns, any nice jewelry, any watches, things like that, all of those things that you personally own and have bought over the years, that is one of the very first things that renter's insurance covers. But it also covers if something does happen. Let's say I'm living in this room and there's a bad storm and there's a big water leak and it busts a pipe and all this stuff is flooded or whatever. Well, the person who owns the building, they're going to get their building taken care of. But anything of your own stuff that was damaged isn't going to be taken care of. So it only covers that. But while they're fixing the roof and fixing whatever else, whatever, for you to be able to come back and live inside of it, renter's insurance policies will also pay for you to be able to go live in a hotel, buy food, pay for dry cleaning and laundromat services and stuff like that until you can get back into your apartment. And then it also has an amount in there to protect you if anyone comes over and is hanging out and something goes wrong and they're hurt and they try to sue you. If they try to sue you for some reason, or you might be held liable for something, there's coverage for there that will keep you from having to pay out of your own personal pocket or have your wages garnished, all that. So it doesn't just protect your actual furniture and stuff like that, which you might think, oh, I don't have too much of that. But if something happens on your property and they sue you, if someone sues you, even if you're innocent, you still have to go to court and go through all the process. So renter's insurance will also pay for all that.
That liability coverage.
That litigation, getting a lawyer, making sure that you're taken care of there.
Now, we mentioned millennials a minute ago. Let me just mention this also. If you are a millennial watching this, chances are you've thought about college, or you might be, if you're a parent watching this, you might be about to send a kid off to college. That's a key moment that you should look into renter's insurance, because guess what? It also covers theft, and if they're moving between dormitories, if you imagined having to go down to the store and buy a replacement sock pair for every pair of socks that you lost in the event of a disaster, as he was mentioning, that's a lot of money, especially for a college student who's living off ramen noodles. So this is a great coverage for you. This is something you can use to hack the insurance industry. Now, speaking of that, what is the ideal renter's insurance customer?
Well, as we've been saying, millennials, younger people who are just now going to college, maybe coming out of college, they might be renting or about to start renting and not realize that they need to get a renter's insurance policy. So anyone like that, but then of course there's also older people. I say older, I mean middle-aged, whatever, who have moved to a different city or are starting out renting at first so they can find the place they want to live. Anyone that is going to be living in a place that they don't own will be the perfect sort of customer for renter's insurance.
Okay, so let's say I get renter's insurance and then I change addresses. I get a new condo, a new apartment complex. Mm-hmm. Can I take my renter's insurance policy with me?
Yeah, it's very easy. It's just a matter of calling me up. We change the address. Now, sometimes there might be some things that we have to change also in there, like if you were living in a one-room studio apartment and then all of a sudden you're living in a big penthouse in Buckhead, well then there's obviously going to be some extra information I need to get, but it's easy to do it, and there doesn't need to be a new effective date or anything. We just change everything over. I do that work. You just text me, call me, and then I text you, call you when it's done.
So if you're joining us right now would be a good time to look for the millennial in your friends list, or your family member, or somebody who's looking at the prospect of buying a home, or eventually maybe even stepping out on their own, a young person stepping out and buying their own insurance policies. Share this with them. This is key information. We're about to really get into some things that can be a big help to those family members. So they change addresses. Now, what happens if their belongings go into a storage facility in transition? Are their belongings covered while they're in that?
Yes, they do. Insurance companies know that you've got to move. Sometimes you have to put some stuff in storage, and so they cover that sort of thing.
So even if let's say I put my laptop, I'm going to school somewhere, I put my laptop in my car, my belongings in my car, I'm moving and something happens, are my belongings covered?
Those are still covered.
Yeah, so that's a key item there. Now, if my landlord doesn't require me to get renter's insurance, why should I still get renter's insurance?
Well, you should still get renter's insurance because even though they're not requiring you get it, none of your stuff is covered. So if anything happens, you're out of luck. Imagine having to go and buy the new TV, the new game system, the new clothes, whatever they steal, whatever is damaged. It's all it's not going to be covered on your landlord's policy at all. They're going to pay for the actual building, and that's it. They're not going to
Yeah.
pay a dime towards what you own.
And before you get ready to have a lynch party for the landlord, it's not that they don't want to cover your possessions. It's that the policies that the landlord purchases, even if it's an apartment complex or duplex or even a single family home that you're renting, even in those cases, the landlord's policy, when you're an insurance agent filling out that policy for them, you can't even give them coverage on that. And the reason is that the landlord has no knowledge of what kind of belongings that person's going to have when they actually take residence there. It could be somebody with high-powered equipment, it could, like a lot of camera equipment, a lot of jewelry collection, or it could be a college student, moving in a whole pallet of ramen noodles. You just don't know what the contents are going to be. Yeah. So the insurance company is not thinking about that. They're just interested in protecting the structure itself. So again, your possessions aren't covered if you don't have that.
And that's why it's so important to talk to me or Juan about getting your renter's insurance policy, because you can buy renter's insurance policies online from insurance companies who are all online, but then they just say, oh, most people get around this much, whatever. But if you've got Mac laptops and Mac computers and you've got equipment, or even if you don't have any of that stuff, but you've got a collection of something, that might not be covered. So it's really important to talk to us, because we can tailor the policy to cover exactly what you need and what you have. Mm-hmm. Just buying it for the sake of buying it isn't ideal. You want to talk to us and find out what's covered, what's not covered, and what amounts you need. Because if you read that everybody else has a $50,000 policy and you don't have that much, or you've got way more, then you're not going to be happy that you're paying for a $50,000 policy whenever you have way more than that of stuff.
Now, let's say that I'm somebody who is thinking about the prospect of buying a home. Why should I get renter's insurance? It's not my home. Why should I get that policy?
Well, here's the big trick and tip we want to let you know for Tip and Trick Thursday.
Yeah, share, like, subscribe, find that millennial, that prospective home buyer, find that person in your list, bug them, share it with them, message it to them, copy the link, send them a text message. Let's get them listening to this. This is important.
Anybody that you know of that's on the process to buying a home, whether it's for the first time or again, they need to have renter's insurance, because here we go. Renter's insurance gets you a huge discount when you go to buy home insurance.
Did you say discount?
Discount. What kind of count?
Did you say discount? Well, now how does that work? What are you talking about, a discount?
Well, for instance, I just helped out a gentleman who was getting a home for the first time, and whenever we first quoted him, he didn't have, he was going to be buying a home. He was just wanting to see what was out there. The rate was, I forget what it was now, been so many numbers, but let's just say for the sake of talking right now, it was $2,000. Well, once he had renter's insurance, which he hadn't had before, for only 6 months, it dropped it by more than half. So having renter's insurance will get you a major discount whenever you go to buy a home. And a lot of people don't know that. They decide they want to buy a home and they ask for rates, and then a year from now, whenever they're getting rates again, my insurance company must have been ripping me off. They were charging me this much, and now all the rates are showing this much. Well, it's because you've had some history. So if you go ahead and get renter's insurance, which is way cheaper than home insurance, when it's time to buy that home, your policy is going to be way cheaper than someone who's just starting out fresh.
And the reason for that is the insurance company has some claims history to show them. You've had 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years with renter's insurance coverage and no claims. That means that you're not very likely to file a bunch of claims when you do buy that home. If you're buying a home and you've never had previous homeowner's insurance, previous renter's insurance, the insurance company has nothing to look at. They don't know what kind of a homeowner you're going to be. And so having that renter's insurance policy can really make a big difference.
It does make a big difference.
Yeah. So we're talking dollars now. This is again, we're talking about hacks, tips and tricks. This is a big deal. If you are looking at buying a home, you really need to think about this. In fact, if you're watching and you can think of somebody that has talked to you about, hey, I'd like to buy a home someday.
They're currently renting.
Yeah,
that's what it's currently
that's what
renting.
that usually means. Unless mom and dad's basement is where they're at. And even sometimes then, if they're the proverbial millennial in the basement, they might still be able to get insurance coverage if they're paying for that space. And so that's very important. Now, what about customers who are concerned about, if I buy this renter's insurance policy, how much is that going to add to my bottom line? If they're penny pinching, they're a college student, for instance, a young person just getting a start in life, and they're saying, this is my budget, this is all I'm making, why should they consider adding that renter's insurance policy on there?
Well, I get this question all the time, and the truth is, I'd say 80% of the time, adding a renter's insurance policy for, like, in the case of like a millennial or someone who's just renting for the first time, adding a renter's insurance policy gives the auto insurance side so much of a discount that the renter's insurance might as well be free.
Did you say discount?
Yeah. What kind of count?
Discount. So basically, you're telling me that if I've got my auto insurance policy here, and I add a renter's insurance policy here, then I'm going to get a discount on the renter's insurance policy for having the auto policy, and a discount on the auto policy for having the renter's insurance?
Yep.
Now, what kind of discount? I mean, what are you talking about there? What kind of money are we looking at?
You almost get to double dip, and it might not make sense at first, but the reality is, as we were just mentioning, because you're with a company and you've got two policies with them, statistics show just all the numbers that they crunch whenever they're running reports. Someone who just has an auto insurance policy versus someone who has auto and renters is much less likely to file a claim. Now you would think, well, a claim is usually just an accident, so how does that figure? But the reality is, whenever you have two policies with somebody, the percentage of the time that you're filing a claim is much, much lower. So they're willing to give a discount for having on a renter's policy for having the auto, and on the auto for having the renter. So you get to double dip on both sides. And in most cases, it is cheaper to get the renters than not to have the renters, because the discount can be so huge on the auto.
Now, when you talk about the discounts, you're talking as much as 15% on the auto for having the renters, and as much as 15% on the renters for having the auto together in the same place.
Well, we say as much as, but sometimes it's more.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is.
Yeah, and how would you know unless you talk to the advocates, the agents, who can really help you? Now, I'll tell you personally, when I was renting, the first time after my wife and I got married, I was renting a location, and so I thought, hey, I've got all these belongings here. I need to see if I'm covered. And then when I discovered that I wasn't, and asked them, hey, how much would it increase my policy, my auto policy, to add a renter's policy, I was blown away that together they were cheaper than not having the renter's policy at all. So my total cost actually went down. Now, it wasn't a huge total down, but it was still down when I was adding coverage. That's a huge deal. If you're a millennial watching this and you're pinching pennies, this is an area that you do not need to pinch pennies. This isn't like moving up from ramen noodles to steak dinner. Keep talking about ramen noodles, but that's probably because I'm hungry. But we're not talking about ramen noodles to steak dinner. We're talking about, the price actually could possibly drop. Your bottom line could actually go down by adding extra coverage. And so again, this is a tip and a trick here. If you don't know these things, then we're potentially going to save you a lot of problems and trouble and a lot of money going forward.
And again, not just the millennials and the younger people, but if you're 40, 50 years old and you've just moved here, or you're renting right now and you're planning on buying a home, whether it's for the first time or again, it can still make a huge difference adding a renter's insurance policy for whenever you go to buy a home. Whenever I am quoting somebody, the difference between them having renter's insurance policy previous and not is huge.
I just had a couple that had just recently got married last year. They got married, and the lady, the wife, had actually gone and purchased renter's insurance beforehand. Somebody had told her about renter's insurance, and when they were buying a home, they started looking into things, and I informed them about how wise it was they had been to get this policy. The man was even wiser by saying that it was the wife's brilliant idea. So if you're a young lady out there, if you're a homemaker, a young spouse, or if the wife is the breadwinner and the husband is sitting at home watching this right now, it's important that you two have this conversation, because it's not just about today and today's expenses, but it can have a tremendous impact on you going forward. It can make a really big difference in the rates. Now, who qualifies to get renter's insurance?
Well, pretty much anybody who is renting. Some companies have different rules and different policies that they'll write, and different limits and amounts or whatever, but we can almost always find something for somebody. 99% of the time we'll find something for somebody. So even if you've had a claim before or something's happened, you need to contact us, because you going online and searching renter's insurance, they might not write the policy, but we can find somebody who'll do it.
Yeah, and you want to package those two. Again, so if you're just joining us, and we're talking about a tip and a trick here in renter's insurance that can actually save a lot of money for those clients who are renting, who are thinking about buying, who are just getting a new start out on life, maybe moving out for the first time and getting out into the insurance industry, buying their first auto policy. This is a great time for them to save some money because they could qualify. Now, the key, again, is you want to combine those policies. You want to have them in the same company. And we definitely have a lot of carriers that can do that for you. Now, so if I'm looking at getting renter's insurance as a way to save money and protect my belongings, where do I go to get started? How do I press the red button, the start button, the green button?
Green button.
Yeah.
Well, above this video there is a link. There's a link. There is a link.
There's a link.
There's a link or two, and you can click that. You can click the renter's insurance quote request button, or you can click the auto insurance quote request button if you want to bundle those two things together. Whichever one will get you started from somewhere. So click one of the links, fill out the form. It's everything that we need to know to be able to get you a quote right away. So fill it out. It doesn't take too long to do. Fill that out and let's get you started, because this can save you lots of money down the road. So
if you come across, if you're doing those things and you're thinking, hey, you know what, that guy was talking about tips and tricks, but I come across a question I don't really know the answer to, there's also a little call now button on Facebook that you can press to call us. Our phone number is readily available. You can message us through the messenger on Facebook. We try very hard to respond quickly to people who message us through Facebook, and so you can also add comments in the comment section. We want to help you get started saving some big time money. And again, it's not just about today. You know, the whole tip here we're giving you is the fact that you can save money big time going forward. You know, one of the other little things I would mention is the fact, this is another something that a lot of people don't know about, and this is a big topic for another day, but there is such a thing as an insurance score, and it's not just credit score. It actually is a score that takes into account how many times have you had claims, what were those dollar amounts of those claims. And so if you've got a renter's insurance policy and you've never had a claim, not only would you have the renter's policy a good chance, good likelihood, it actually decreased your total cost by having it, but then being able to turn around and pivot that towards a homeowner policy and get better tiered rates on homeowners insurance, that's a huge deal. So again, it's not just about today, it's about thinking about tomorrow. If you're a young parent, or you've got young children that are starting to get older and start to thinking about stepping out on their own, it's a great time to look into renter's insurance. So again, if your agents never discussed this topic with you, then you could be missing out on some big savings. I had one customer one time, took advantage of the policy because of the fact that they had some a refrigerator and several other items that went bad in a storm we had when we were living in Louisiana. So that's a huge thing. I will also tell you this. As many of you know me, I used to actually be a banker for one of the nationwide banks before moving into the insurance industry. And that nationwide bank sold policies from every imaginable type of financial product. And renter's insurance was one of the things that we sold. And I'll never forget, when I first started working at the bank, the manager was talking to me about the benefit of having renter's insurance way back then. When I first started working there, and she said that she had told her mother about renter's insurance. Her mother was living in an apartment complex, and you know how things do. It slips down the list on the to-do list, and there's things that pile up, and they're focused on other issues. And then one day she decided, you know what, today's the day. I'm going to go down there and get renter's insurance. And while she was en route to the bank to get that renter's insurance policy, she actually found out that her apartment complex was on fire, and she lost everything. So, you know, again, if you don't have renter's insurance, you're missing out on some
Act now.
huge coverages. You never know what can happen, especially if you think about the fact that if you're not just living in a single family house, but if you're living in a duplex or an apartment complex, it's not just about accidents that happen to you. It's about accidents that happen to the neighbor next door to you on the other side of the wall. They cause a cooking fire. You know, that they do something stupid. They fall asleep smoking a cigarette. You know, they're not supposed to be doing drugs in there, but they're doing drugs, and they pass out, and the drugs catch the couch on fire. And the next thing you know, something has happened that causes the loss of your belongings. So this is, again, it's not just about you managing your risk, but it's about you managing the risk of potential loss from other people. So very, very important. So we want to be your family's ultimate advocate in the insurance industry. We want to save you money, but we want to provide you value. We're meeting with you every day of the week to talk to you about something that could be helpful. You know, not every stream that we're going to be talking about is applicable to everybody. And so we've tried to compile these into certain topics and things that, areas that might help certain people for different things. If you're watching this video right now and you say, this really doesn't apply to me, that doesn't mean that every Thursday we're going to be talking about renter's insurance or we're going to be pestering you. We want to provide content that helps you. And so, again, if you're watching this and this doesn't apply to you, think of somebody that it might apply to. Share it with them. But also keep tuning in, because we're going to keep providing tremendous value to you on this. Now, again, look around Facebook. Who else is doing this? Who else is giving you this advice? And they might start up once they see us do it. But again, we're trying to provide you excellent advice. And not only we're out working hard every day to give our customers the best rates, the best policies, the best carriers, the best advice, we're trying to provide value to you on a daily basis. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You can click the little arrow, the little swooping arrow, and send the link to somebody via messenger. You can copy the URL and send it via text message. You can we go online after the broadcast, and then we put it on YouTube for you to view and share there. We're going to be uploading them to our blog on our website, www.rockdalelifeagency.com. How else can we contact? We're available by text message. I sent my last email last night at 3 in the morning. So we're working hard to provide you content. Make sure and share this with folks that you care and love about, you love and care about. and we'll do our best to help them very much. Amen. So we're honored you chose us today. I thought I'd throw it in one more time for giggles and grins. We're honored that you chose the opportunity, you took the opportunity to visit with us today. If you can think of anything else we need to talk about, hit us up. Let us know what you're interested in hearing about. We appreciate your business. It's an honor to be your agent. And as always, make it a great day.